Excellency, speaking in English. Is he speaking in English or in French? And delegation, honorable ministers, honorable partners, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome every one of you to this important summit. At the outset, allow me to thank President Ruto for hosting and chairing this key summit on a vital issue for Africa, which is soil health and fertilizers, after hosting here in Nairobi an African summit on climate last year. Your commitment and personal leadership, Mr. President, has been a pivotal driver for the momentum we see today. I also wish to reiterate my compassion and solidarity with you, Mr. President and dear brother, and the government and people of Kenya amid the devastating floods which have claimed more 100 innocent lives. Please stand and observe 1 minute of silence. Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in the context of the continued negative impacts of climate change, the theme of this summit is particularly pertinent. We must listen to the land. Africa is experiencing accelerated soil degradation, including through desertification and floods, as we are seeing in East Africa and here in Kenya. Often alternatively, either droughts or floods, which in turn reduces the production and productivity in the African agricultural sector. But the current pace of soil degradation in Africa has attained a threshold which requires proactive attention and action from all to halt the degradation and commence effective soil health management. What is clear is that Africa's agricultural production capacity falls way below global norms. Equally important or the causes of soil health degradation on the continent. The African Union Commission is committed to address the issues of soil health in all African countries. This determination is what led us to develop the Soil Initiative for Africa and the Africa Fertilizer and the Soil Health Action Plan. While the Soil Initiative for Africa is a long-term framework aligned with our Agenda 2063, the action plan is the 10-year implementation plan. Regarding fertilizers, they constitute a critical input for productivity if properly used according to accepted scientific norms. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of fertilizer use, Africa is below the global average and the target set by African head of state and government in 2006, where they endorsed the Abuja Declaration on Fertilizer for a Green Revolution in Africa with a target of 50 kilograms per hectare per year. 18 years later, the average fertilizer use rate stands at about 18 kilograms less than half of the target set in 2006. We have a responsibility to learn and apply the lesson on why this gap remains. Some African countries produce fertilizers, but we depend mostly on imported fertilizers, making them very expensive for our farmers. Yet, the African Center for Fertilizer Development, based in Zimbabwe, has been in existence since the 1980s. We must optimize use of such existing continental assets to boost local fertilizer production and deliver quality fertilizers to African farmers at affordable prices. This is imperative if we are to improve the continent's agricultural sector, key for our food sovereignty and security. These investments should also be reflected in our national budgets. However, and as our biennial review show, we remain far from attaining the targets set in Malabo in 2014, which gave us a clear implementation roadmap. Ownership is partly hamstrung by an overdependence on partners for the financing of our agricultural development ambitions. It is simply not sustainable. So, in conclusion, and in light of all the points I raised, we need to renew strong political will by member states through the mobilization of domestic resources to reflect the priority of the agricultural sector and as defined in Malabo. Indeed, it is up to the continent to lead a pragmatic technological revolution to transform this key sector if we are to move beyond the classic strategies since Abuja and reinforce our implementation capacities. Agriculture remains a strategic and a key lever for continental industrialization and the creation of jobs that are also vital for development, stability, and prosperity. It is therefore up to us to harness our collective determination and resources in addressing soil health and fertilizer use in a holistic manner if we are to achieve sustainable food system on our continent. Our strategic frameworks are in place, and we have the capacity to work together to produce the fertilizers and the other agricultural inputs we need. Let us, therefore, give ourselves the necessary political means to address the challenges to our food sovereignty. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. Let's give him a warm thank you clap. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Next on stage, allow me to now invite His Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, former Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and our host, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Vice Presidents, Excellency Mr. Moussa Faki Mohammed, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Honorable Ministers, high-ranking government officials, representatives of international organizations, development agencies, private sector and farmer organizations, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to express my sincere appreciation for the honor I have been given to deliver welcoming remarks the African Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit in this beautiful city of Nairobi, known for its stunning landscapes, vibrant culture, and diverse wildlife. On behalf of the AGRA Board and Management, and on my own behalf, I take this opportunity to welcome you all to this historic summit, which creates an opportunity to explore a wide range of issues around African fertilizer and soil health and the implications of the agricultural, health, and social well-being of the continent. My sincere gratitude to the President, government, and people of Kenya to the warm reception and hospitality accorded to all delegations since their arrival. Excellency, Mr. President, allow me also to express my deep appreciations to the African Union Commission and to the government of Kenya for jointly hosting this important summit. At this juncture, I would like to thank my sister, Commissioner Sako, for her leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, this African Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit has come at a critical moment. We as a continent are facing a myriad of challenges linked to unsustainable agriculture, including low agricultural productivity and human malnutrition, which is estimated to be impacting at least 20% of African population. It's my hope that the summit will drive the future of African food systems and catalyze sustainable agricultural productivity and food security in the continent, and I assure you that your contribution to the summit is paramount important. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, let me start by quoting a saying from the Kikuyu people of Kenya. I quote, "You must treat the earth well. It is not given to you by your parents. It is loaned to you by your children." End of the quote. According to the Kikuyu culture, each member of the family must take care of the earth, cultivate it, and make sure that the whole environment is taken care of. Excellencies, the first African Fertilizer Summit held in 2006 in Abuja, Nigeria, aimed to position fertilizer as a key ingredient to increase crop yields and address the associated challenges of food insecurity and poor incomes faced by smallholder farmers in Africa. The business as usual trajectory is obviously unsustainable. We should and we showed only a slow incremental progress, and while the reality on the ground calls for an exponential results. The discourse has been changed from crop productivity and profitability focus to a broader set of goals and targets, such as sustainability, climate change adaptation and mitigation, rehabilitation and regeneration of degraded land and our soil, and restoration of environmental services, a mix of solutions than one jacket fits all kind of approach. The major challenge facing agri-food systems in Africa is how to exponentially increase crop productivity sustainably under rapidly increasing demographic pressure and changing climatic conditions while maintaining or enhancing the health of the soil resource base. Safeguarding the health of African soils is key. It's not just about enhancing food security, but also ensuring environmental sustainability. To illustrate this point, Ethiopia invested in a sustainable land management program alongside our development partners, which spanned 209 districts in 6 regional states. This was instrumental in reducing land degradation, enhancing soil regeneration, boosting household resilience, increasing vegetation cover, and improving downstream water supplies. On average, total loss in the watershed was decreased by about 65%, and while the crop yield increased by 20%. The Ethiopian Soil Information System was also a major investment that gathered and analyzed soil samples from each of Ethiopia's 18,000 agricultural local village administrative units. Over 160,000 soil samples were catalogued, leading to the development of district-level fertilizer and fertility maps and fertilizer recommendations for each administrative village. Since 2008, my organization, AGRA, has supported numerous interventions to increase fertilizer use. Over 300,000 metric tons of fertilizer were delivered to smallholder farmers through AGRA's agro-dealer development program, and an additional 600,000 metric tons through a collaboration with the Africa Fertilizer Agribusiness Partnership. We see this as a drop in the ocean when compared even to the gap of 20 million metric tons required to reach the modest 50 kilogram per hectare target of 2006. Although Africa is now apparently a net exporter of mineral fertilizer, it has a very low uptake. Besides, the procurement, distribution, and subsidy programs are marred with bad governance in most cases. Encouraging